You've heard it already, adopt AI or get left behind. And so you did. You now use ChatGPT for fixing your grammar and brainstorming. You use Claude to help you write, and Perplexity for anything you can't be bothered to research yourself. Now you're saving 10 hours a week, feeling more productive than ever. You must be ahead of the curve, right? There can't be that much more to it. Or can there? Well, I hate to break it to you, but if that sounds like you, then you're still in the kiddie pool of automation. Meanwhile, others are building full-blown AI teams. They're building AI agents that run outreach, handle customer support, negotiate with clients, and execute projects autonomously, running 24/7. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 levels of AI automation. We'll go from the casual user to an AI agent pro who's able to automate any task within their business. And don't worry, you will not need any technical knowledge or previous experience to take full advantage of this, as we will be using a tool called Lindy. Lindy is a no-code drag-and-drop AI agent builder that allows you to set up complex and powerful automations in plain English. But I will share a bit more about that in a second. Let's get to the automations levels first. Level 1 is AI tourist. This is the level where everybody starts off, but unfortunately where most people and businesses stay. You are in this level if you're using ChatGPT for basic tasks like writing emails, fixing grammar, and formatting your content, maybe using Claude for drafting content, Perplexity for summarizing articles, and possibly tools like Midjourney for image generation. You're basically treating AI as an assistant that you occasionally ask for help and maybe bouncing ideas back and forth. But actually all you're doing is outsourcing your typing. Now, there's nothing wrong with being at this level. I still use AI for all of these tasks. The problem here is that you're still wasting time copy and pasting prompts, and the chats don't have any memory, context, or workflows. So you end up with inconsistent outputs, often spending more time reprompting to get exactly what you need. Everything you do with AI at this level is manual. The good news though is that with the tools that we have today, getting to the next level is pretty easy. So let me show you exactly how you can go beyond this level so you can start building smart AI automations that can handle entire workflows. Level 2 is the AI operator. This is where the fun begins. While before your use of AI was like driving the car manually, at level 2 it's like having an autopilot that can do all the steering and parking for you. All you have to do is give it the final destination. At level 2, you are training AI agents on your data to get the exact outputs that you need. You're integrating multiple AI models into your workflows, and you're using AI as parts of your SOPs, standard operating procedures. You're also setting up basic automations that run automatically in the background, which helps you eliminate a lot of small tedious tasks. At this level, you can do quite a lot. Think about all of the different repetitive tasks within your business or within your workflows. For example, summarizing long-form content and saving it to a database, managing your email inbox, repurposing content for other social media platforms, monitoring your brand's digital footprint, managing leads between different platforms, and a lot more. And this is just scratching the surface. Lindy, which is the tool that we'll be using for building the automations, has over 4,000 different integrations with other apps, as well as 5,000 different scrapers. So you can imagine the amount of things that you can automate with it. Lindy has a visual drag and drop builder that allows anyone, no matter their technical background, to build all kinds of automations fast. The examples that I just mentioned earlier would only take a few minutes to build each. And once you build them, you can run them forever and save countless hours every single week. So let me show you exactly how to get started with these. So when you get started building automations with Lindy, this is what you'll see. You can either start with many of the templates that they have on here. They have over 100, or you can start from scratch. But let's start from scratch so you know exactly how to start building level 2 automations. You'll click here on your Lindy, start from scratch. For our first example, we'll build a content repurposer, as that's probably one of the most common and yet powerful automations that people use. So we get started with a trigger. A trigger is what will trigger our automation and trigger our Lindy. Lindy has many different triggers that you can get started with. I like to link my Lindys to my Slack, so the most common one I use is the Slack trigger, but we'll just get started with the Lindy one. With this trigger, we'll be able to begin our automation by messaging Lindy. In our case, we're building a content repurposer, so we'll send the information to the Lindy and this will trigger the automation. So there's different ways we can go about this. We can start with an action, which is basically all of the different integrations that Lindy has, as well as its own functionality like web browsing. There's also scrapers, there's also logic, many different things you can play around with. In our case, I'll choose the AI action, but specifically I'll go with write. So it's quite simple. We send our message to the content and it will activate this AI write action. Here on the right, we can choose the model that we want to go with. I think Claude 3.5 Sonnet is quite good for writing, so we will leave that there. Next, we want to actually tell Lindy what we want it to do, the information that it sends us. Let's say in this case, we're building a repurposer for YouTube scripts. So to set up our write action, I pasted some simple instructions here for our automation to follow. I just said you're a world-class content repurposer who writes in the same style as Shampuri. I give it a little bit more context on what it does and that it should output scripts that are 1,000 words long. I give it further information like hook people instantly, etc. I give it some rules to follow as well as a style, and I also told it how to format all of this. So now we have a repurposer that can take whatever we send it and it will repurpose it into a YouTube script. However, now nothing will happen once we trigger this automation. So let's add another action and then we add send message. We can set this up and say send back a message of the script that you wrote, but actually that is not necessary at all. Lindy will automatically figure out what to do next. Now we could set up this send message and tell it like what it needs to do and message us back. However, Lindy is smart enough to figure out what to do next. It will know to message us back the script that it wrote previously. So I'm going to save it and test it out real quick. And then boom, we have a script formatted exactly how we need it to. However, this is still quite manual, right? We'll have to copy this transcript, put it in a Google Doc. Let's automate this further. So instead of send message, I'm going to delete that for now. I'm going to add another action and I'm going to go to docs and I'm going to click create document. So this will create a Google document. For title, I'm going to say, I'm just going to give it a prompt. So create the title in the following format, today's date, and then main topic. And for the content of document, I'm going to set it to the output from our previous step. And then again, let's add the send message action and then prompt the AI to message the user back with the Google Doc link. And then from here, we can choose the Google Doc URL. However, we don't even need to do that. It will be smart enough to figure it out, but I already did it. So let's test it out again. Once again, the script has been written and now Lindy is creating a Google Doc with that script. Boom, we have the full script here, the today's date, as well as the title. Incredible. Now let's automate this even further. Let's say I don't want to even check Lindy after I send it that message. So I'm going to add the Google Sheets action and I'm going to choose a pen row. Then I just chose the Google Sheet that I want to use, chose the Google Sheet title, and then here we can tell which rows it should fill. So here I'm just going to prompt it today's date. For the title, I'm going to set the title of the Google Doc. And then for the link, I'm going to choose the URL. And I'll press save and let's test it out one more time. And then boom, our script has been rewritten, Google Doc created, Google Sheet updated. Checking the Google Sheet, as we can see, the date is correct. The title is also correct. We have the date here in the title, but that's the same as the Google Doc. That's what I told it to do. So actually we could have not even have this section, but that's all right. And then we have the link to the Google Doc. So just like this, in just a few minutes, we automated the entire process of repurposing content into YouTube scripts. If you wanted to, you can duplicate this and remake this same system for TikTok scripts, LinkedIn posts, whatever you want. But I hope you're starting to see the picture. In level 1 of automation, you would have manually went to ChatGPT, you would have given it instructions. I want you to write like this, blah, blah, blah. Then you would have given it a transcript. You'd have gotten the output, maybe you play around with it again, then you go to Google Docs, you upload it there, and then you send it to your team. But in this case, your AI already knows what to do. You just send it the transcript, no context given. It rewrites it, uploads it to a Google Doc, and then uploads it to a Google Sheet. At level 2, we can already automate most things within our workflows. Depending on the complexity of your business and how many automations you set up, you can save anywhere from 20 to 50 hours a week for yourself as well as your team. However, at level 3, you might not even need a team anymore. At this level, rather than automating specific workflows, we can create entire AI employee teams. Imagine this, you want to hire a new graphics designer. So you shoot over a message to your AI executive saying that you need 10 high quality candidates by the end of the day. Your AI executive understands the request and then forwards it to the AI recruiter. AI recruiter then automatically finds candidates that best match your criteria. It researches their background as well as their socials and then drafts a personalized outreach email. All you have to do after that is click approve. But it doesn't end there. After sending the emails, your AI employee makes sure to follow up with every single one of them. And upon getting a reply, it autonomously schedules a call with them that matches your schedule. It then joins every single one of those calls, transcribes the call for you, and ranks each candidate on your criteria. With automations like these, you can take a small business with maybe 2 or 3 employees and have the same productivity as a team of 10 plus members. This can help you run laps around your competitors. With Lindy, anyone can build AI agents of this complexity all within minutes. Let me show you exactly how. Now, by the way, Lindy has a free plan that you can try out to start setting up some of these automations. So if you want to check it out, make sure to click the link in the description. So now let's get into the deep waters of Lindy. Let me show you how you can build an entire AI employee that is able to automate an entire job for you. Using automations like this, you can build entire teams of AI agents that run the business for you. In our case, we're going to build a recruiter agent. So we're going to build an agent that will help us recruit new employees. Now, while this might look complicated, give me a few minutes. I will break down exactly how it works for you and how you can build this yourself so that you can start building your own AI agent team. So once again, we start off with a message trigger. So in the greeting message, we basically just told it to send us a message with the requirements that this agent needs to do its job. Then we added a condition module, which basically just determines whether or not we provided the necessary conditions to search for the potential candidates to reach out to. It basically sends us a message to provide the necessary info. This goes around in a loop until the necessary information is provided. However, if the information is provided, we go straight into the candidate finder. So this is an AI agent that will find the candidates for us based on the criteria that we sent it in the message. We give it a prompt, basically telling it what it is. And then in the skills, we added the people's data lab skills so that it can search for the people. So once it finds free candidates, as we said here, or unless the user asks for more, we enter them into a loop. So I didn't show you what a loop is before. So a loop basically allows us to take each one of those candidates and process them individually with the actions that we have in the loop. Loops are very useful if you're processing multiple pieces of data. In our case, we're processing candidates, right? So we can run each of the candidates from the previous step and all of them will get processed at the same time. Think of it like launching multiple AI agents to perform the tasks in here. In our case, for the loop, we set to only loop through the candidate's email address that was found by the agent before. Then we added a search email action. Everything is set on auto, but what it will do is search for the email that we sent through the loop here. And then we exit the loop and only include candidates whose email was not already present in our inbox. So what this will do is it will make sure that whatever candidates that the candidate finder finds have not been reached out to by us yet. This makes sure that we're not reaching out to the same people multiple times, or it's not like an employee in our team already. Then we go to the talent preview agent. What this will do is take the candidates that the candidate finder has found and present those candidates to us one by one using the multiple choice skill. For that, we gave it the form show multiple choice skill. What it does is allows our AI agent to show us multiple choices from the information that it has so that we can choose which ones we want to proceed with. We even gave it an example here for the formatting so that each time it shows us a candidate, it's always in the same format. Then we added another message action. This one allows us to decide how to proceed next. So if we only selected 1 or 2 candidates, we will ask the user if we should do another search. If we selected 3 or more candidates, ask whether or not we should handle the outreach. And we gave it some examples on how it should message us back. So after the reply is received, after that, we added another condition module. In this condition module, we have 2 paths. One is that we confirmed whether or not we should reach out and whether or not we asked to do another round of search. If we ask for another round of search, it goes back and finds more candidates using this agent. If we ask for outreach, it goes down this path. Here we just added another action to message us back saying that it will proceed to the outreach. Here we added another action to basically ask us if we should gonna outreach ourselves and it should just draft, like make a draft so we can look at it and approve it, or whether we want the agent to handle the entire thing for us. Then we added another condition module. So if we say draft, it goes down this side, and if we choose send, it goes down this path of action. If it's draft, we enter another loop and then it drafts an email based on the information that we found before in this following format. And then after that, it just sends us a message telling us that the job is done. However, if we ask it to actually do the outreach for us, it enters a different loop. In this loop, it will do the entire outreach for us. First, it will draft an outreach email. And here we just give it an example email that we should send through. Then we just added a timer to wait for 2 days. If there's been no reply, then send a follow-up email. Did a different email here. If a reply is received, we cancel that timer. However, if no reply is received again, we wait for 3 days again. And if no reply is received, then we send the final follow-up email. However, if the reply is received straight away, we cancel the timer and exit the loop because there's no need for follow-up emails. And then once again, it goes back here and sends us a message. Let's test this out. So let's say we're looking to hire a graphics designer in Melbourne. We can give it target companies, but I'm just going to leave it. By default, it will fetch 5 qualified leads, so we'll just start at that. That's it. We'll just give it graphics designers in Melbourne. Checks for requirements. We did send a requirement, so it doesn't need to message us. Then it went into People Data Labs, search for the people. As you could see, it found 3 real candidates. Entered the loop, made sure that none of these are present in our email inbox. Then it presented us a candidate here. Then it gave us another candidate. I say, okay, I like this one as well. Let's proceed them as well. And then it gave us one more. Let's say we want to proceed there too. So as you could see, it found 3 candidates and then presented all 3 of them to us. Each one having their name, their role, the highlights, and as well as their LinkedIn profiles. Now it told us, okay, you got a solid list. Should I go ahead and handle the outreach and follow-ups end to end? I'll just say, just prepare the drafts. And then boom, enters another loop and starts drafting emails for each one of them at the same time. And that's it. It drafted emails for each one of those and they will be in our draft emails inbox. So from there, we can either modify them and send them, or we can just send them as they are. So I hope from this, you can understand how you can automate entire job positions using Lindy agents. Let me show you another one. For example, this one is an AI sales development representative. So this is another AI agent you can set up that finds, enriches, and outreaches to leads for you. Pretty cool, right? In this context, we send the Lindy a list of companies. We then enter those companies into a loop where each company is then researched, and then using that information, it searches for the leads. Let's say in our case, we want to outreach to the CEO. So we use Perplexity to find those leads. We then enter all of those leads into another loop. In this case, finding their LinkedIn, analyzing their LinkedIn, then researching them further on People Data Labs, and researching them even further on Perplexity. Then if we find the contact email from all of this search, then we try to see if they have podcasts or not. If they do, we transcribe them. If not, then we just proceed to the next step and we draft an email based on all of this information that we found before. So their podcasts, their People Data Labs metadata, Perplexity search, as well as LinkedIn Analyzer. All of this information will go through here and an email will be drafted for each one of the leads. In this example, we automate an entire sales process, finding the leads, enriching the leads, outreaching to the leads. If you wanted to, you can remove some of this and instead just have those queries go through to a Google Sheet, which then maybe another Lindy will use to do the outreach itself. You can really customize it exactly to how your business operates. Now, I've showed you an AI agent for automating your sales. I showed you an AI agent for automating your recruitment. And now let's finish it off with an AI agent that automates your email negotiations. So let's say you get a lot of quotes through your email. What you could do here is set up an AI email negotiator. So we start off with an email trigger, go down into the conditions. We just basically separated whether it's an inquiry or it's not. If it's an inquiry, it will then go into the knowledge base. So basically what will happen here is Lindy will be able to see what the inquiry is and then go through the knowledge base and actually search the knowledge base for any kind of information related to that inquiry. For Lindy, you can add multiple sources as your knowledge base. You can add text, files, your website, Dropbox, Google Drive, Notion, etc. Then we add a condition, basically just making sure that a response has been found. This way that when an inquiry is made and a response in our knowledge base has been found, it will proceed further. If not, it will not. This will just make sure that the AI is not hallucinating some responses. It's only responding to the things that we have predetermined in our knowledge base. The knowledge base will really depend on your business and what kind of inquiries you're getting. Basically, you have to make sure that you cover as many things as possible so that all kinds of inquiries are covered in the knowledge base and that the agent has the necessary information to proceed further. Then we added an email action to respond to the knowledge from the knowledge base before. The more specific here, the better responses you will get. Here we give it an example email of exactly how we should respond. Then we wait for reply to be received. If reply is received, we go into the next condition. This condition basically just determines what this person wants next. If they want negotiation, then we send it to the AI negotiator, which is just prompted to negotiate with the emailer and respond to all of their questions. This agent will basically loop around until one of those conditions is met. We added another condition basically saying that if they still require negotiation, to go back to this agent. And if they're not interested, go through here. If we've closed the deal, go through here. And here we just told them that if they're not interested, send them this following email telling them thank you for your time. And then if you close the deal, go through this email congratulating them and telling them about the next steps. And that's it. So if you watch this video to the end, you now know how to automate pretty much any task within your business. However, if you're still not sure where to get started and need some inspiration for possible automations, check out the video on the screen now.